All right, everybody, welcome back to Saint Movies and Television with Matty and Stephen. I'm Stephen, as you all know. To my left here, we got my bro.
Matty.
There he is. And we're talking about Black Adam. We went there. We saw it. We did it. We were wondering what it was going to be like. Holy shit.
When we found out.
Take. Yeah, we found out. Here in the hot take, we're just going to tell you how we felt about it and whether or not we think you should see it, and not waste a whole lot of your time. If you want to hear the deeper discussion, go ahead and hit the link below to see the full episode, which this will also be included as the beginning of that episode. But there, now that you know the rules, here's the hot take. So Black Adam. Okay, we're going to talk about it.
Okay,
I will say it's not a good movie.
Ooh.
I wouldn't technically describe this film as a good movie. However, I did have fun with it while I was at the theater. And I've seen much, much worse, I will say. Much to my surprise realization, this is the first rock movie I've seen in the theater, which I thought was pretty hilarious, which could kind of give you an idea of how I feel about this particular actor. Used to love him. Used to watch wrestling. Love The Rock. By the way, we'll not call him Dwayne. He's The Rock.
Never. He's always The Rock.
And that's what I think of him. And you know what? I want to say I enjoyed The Rock's version of Black Adam, whatever that is. I don't know many versions of Black Adam, but I liked this version that he played, I guess. I thought it was really fun. Ultimately, not very memorable. Had some cool ideas, but just kind of fits overall in the big lump mass that you call the DCEU. Where at this point, I just kind of pick and choose the parts that I enjoy and then kind of ignore the rest of them. So anyway, that's my hot take. I think, if you're interested in this kind of thing, definitely see it. But if not, you're not missing a whole lot.
Yeah, I feel pretty much the same. I don't know anything about Black Adam. I don't know if I care to know anything about Black Adam, but I'll tell you, folks, this. I loves me a comic book movie, and I went and saw it. To just say my hot take really quick, it's forgettable but fun. If you like the trailer, go see it. If you watch the trailer and went, I don't care about Black Adam, I'm not seeing it, don't go see it. Hot take. Done.
Just like that.
Just like
Boom.
that.
The director of this film was Wame Colette Serra. Kind of like one of those. I'm sure he's done some stuff, down in the indie level that got somebody's attention, or maybe he's come up with a certain production company and he's working his way through Hollywood, or he might just be like kind of like a company man director who shows up and just gets it done there for Warner Brothers DC. Not a name that's a household name yet, but anyway, I thought some of his stylistic sensibilities were pretty fun. I liked the kind of slow-mo stuff that was going on. I loved the music cues. I thought they used Paint It Black to good effect in the early part of the film. Nonstop action. A lot of times I feel like if you're gonna just go balls to the wall action, don't concern yourself so much with like an overarching mythology or something. Just get to the nitty gritty and let it move, keep it simple. And I felt like for the most part, this film did that, but it's a DC thing. So then it's kind of lob you these kind of like expository, try and make sense of what's going on here so the audience doesn't immediately stand up and walk out, kind of thing. I think it falters hugely right at the beginning with that narrative, that voiceover narrative of the kid talking about the legend of Kandak and stuff like that. Like any movie, for the most part, any movie that starts with some voiceover narration where the main character or any character is trying to bring me up to speed as to where we are is bad writing. I don't care what anybody says. It's not even writing. It's something they do in post because they're like, oh, we need something better at this beginning because it's not making sense because we didn't write it well to begin with. Anyway, not to shit on it, but that always checks me out. And I thought for sure I was going to be like, I hate this whole damn movie. And it's just from minute one all the way to the end, it was, garbage writing and this, that, or the other. So I feel like the film itself, it has like these bookends where it's kind of bullshit on the back end and the front end a little bit, and it's really messy. But I think it finds a sweet spot near the middle where I had a lot of fun. I thought the JSA was really cool for the most part. All the comedic kind of beats, maybe not all of them, but most of them I thought were kind of cringy and basic and kind of stupid, low-hanging fruit type of comedy. But seeing Dr. Fate, I thought was so cool. Seeing Adam Smasher kind of carry this, I'm the new guy to the group, and Whirlwind, was her name Whirlwind? I hope it was. Uh,
Cyclone.
Cyclone, that's right. Yeah, she kind of showing him the ropes a little bit, and you can see they're developing a little rapport. And I just think MVP all the way. Aldis Hodge, Hawkman, I need that movie. DC, don't mess with me. He was great. But overall, like messy. Execution of storytelling, messy.
At this point in comic book movie history, we figured this out. We figured out how to tell a good origin story, and it feels like they went, yeah, you know what? Who cares? Which is, I guess, okay because the action is pretty fun, and you like, I think The Rock is really good as Black Adam, and getting to see the Justice Society is really cool. Hawkman, Doctor Fate, all that's really cool to see. I just at the end of it, it's just the storytelling's messy. I can't even really tell you like Black Adam's origin story at this point because it's so convoluted that I feel like the origin story happened like 5 times during
They
that entire
kept
movie.
doing it.
And it was just like, oh my God, like this is how you open a movie. You just tell me how Black Adam was created, how he got captured, and then when they're in the tomb and she says Shazam, we're like, oh shit, he's coming back.
Yeah.
That's it. It's done.
Or
God, it was just like
of.
I just like the fun stuff about the movie was getting to see him work as a team and not be a team player and kind of figure out that he can be this hero, even though he thinks that, his son was the hero. But his son saw something in his father that he couldn't see. And I think that's the importance of this story that gets so convoluted and muddled up that like you're like, what the fuck was I supposed to like get out of this movie? Like at the end of it, you're like some cool battle scenes, I guess. And I agree with you. I do think it was like a cool stylistic. It didn't look like a Zack Snyder movie to me, even though it does have some of that coloration that he likes to go towards. And I feel like kind of this new DC is going to kind of look like that because he's kind of with his Justice League and, whatever. I like Zack Snyder. I don't think he makes great movies, but I do think at least he takes those big swings and does movies that he wants to make. And I think, as a filmmaker, you got to do that from time to time. Thought anything that kid said, I think the cool stuff he did was skateboard. But like him, it was funny when he did tell him how Black Adam should have a catchphrase and like all this stuff. I thought was pretty fun. But towards the end, there's a scene where he holds up the triangle and he's trying to like motivate these people to help save his town, and it's the worst motivational speech I have ever seen, heard, given by yeah, maybe it's hard to write a child who could be this like great leader, but I guess what they were trying to do was make him like the son at the beginning in the flashback,
Yeah.
trying to reunite these people to rise up against this horrible, dictator king. And that kid had more presence than the kid that was in the movie more. I
Yeah.
feel like they should have reversed those roles or something. But that scene, I was just like, I remember just like doing this. I was like, is this scene over yet? Because I need to like get on to like, honestly, most of the time I was just waiting for, spoiler alert, the Henry Cavill scene at the end of the movie. That's
the very
basically
last frame of the movie. That's what we showed up for.
And how we were talking about how we just didn't really feel like Cavill got a good run as Superman. So it's nice to see that The Rock wanted him back to be Superman in this, like, however we move forward from this point. I definitely want to see him in a couple more Superman movies before he hangs up the cape or we pass it on to someone.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I just thought the storytelling was just all over the place. They didn't know really what to do, and they wanted to like make it, I guess, sort of secret to not really tell us. Well, I don't understand why they kept it from us of how he became Black Adam when it was like his son, and you can kind of tell that the statue doesn't really look like The Rock, and it's like
so much better.
Storytelling messy.
Yeah, it was
done.
An unfortunate series of events, we'll say. So the characters in this movie, let's just say a little something for Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate. I wish they'd give him a little bit better dialogue. The dialogue seems like it was written in a group chat. It did. I was waiting for The Rock to say something like, "This is lit," or some shit, like I was just waiting for it. And it just was such, again, low-hanging fruit. Just really like, we need something funny right here. Say something oddball, whatever. It'll be funny. It'll get a chuckle. And there's just so much of those little fucking dartboard jokes in this one where I think I love Dr. Fate. I love how he looked. I love that Pierce Brosnan was in that role. I was pretty upset that they took him out of the whole equation. Um, After a while, but he did get a good amount of screen time, and I thought we saw some really good stuff from him. I would watch a Doctor Fate movie in a heartbeat. Hopefully,
Mhm.
not by the same director or anybody who's working on this movie, but that would be nice. Aldis Hodge again as Hawkman. I could not take my eyes off of Hawkman in this movie. I thought when he didn't have his costume on, he commanded the scene. Really good screen presence.
Mhm.
Aldis Hodge is a talent to watch out for. When he had the armor on and he was going toe to toe and not giving up against Black Adam, that was fun. That was some
Yeah.
good comic book stuff. And that's what I'll say here is, the characters really brought out the real core comic book goodness out of this movie. Cyclone and Atom Smasher, I thought they fulfilled their purpose. I hope if there is some kind of sequel or continuation with JSA characters, they get rid of that stupid mask. I think
Mhm.
there's been some Deadpool comparisons just because it's got weird diamonds on the eyes and it looks kind of similar, but just in blue. But just get rid of the mask entirely, or maybe do like a Robin type of thing or something. That kid is talented. He's got good comedic timing, and he did best with what he was given. And that mask is just weird looking. Looks like a BDSM kind of like a weird thing going on. It didn't work. Anyway, I'm
Yeah.
not gonna waste my whole characters and performance on just that. But I guess that's all there is to say. There was some good moments from everybody, I think, really. And there's some really terrible ones. Also, I like the brother character. I thought
Oh
he would
yeah, he
be
was
one,
great.
the forced comedic relief of the movie, but he actually did really good. And then that Hall & Oates song, that was really nicely meshed in and stuff. I think all the fucking Hunger Games shit that they did at the end was really cheesy and stupid. Stop doing that. Just don't do that. If you feel like you're not getting your audience's emotions involved, don't force it. Take another look at your script.
I don't have a problem with The Rock. This is the character he chose, which is kind of a darker character. I feel like most of the time he picks these like kind of family dudes, or they're just like good dudes generally. I don't know what I'm trying to say,
Mm-hmm.
but he's generally a good guy, and he's like maybe wavers on the line a little bit, but he's never like
It's
fully
true.
bad. And I feel like he's like murdering people in this movie, which I appreciated about Black Adam, because we all know what happened when Superman broke Zod's neck. Everyone lost their goddamn minds. But I love that he's just tossing people. I think it's my favorite part of the movie, honestly, is him just killing
Yeah.
people, and then Hawkman being like, "You can't kill people," and he's like, "Why?" And I'm like, "It's
Mm-hmm.
true, Hawkman. Why?"
Yeah.
I thought Hawkman was great. I thought Pierce Brosnan was great. I do agree. I wish, maybe they'll do a Doctor Fate movie, give him a little extra, or maybe. But I also get like why they probably killed him off. Spoilers, is because he's older, dude. Like, who knows if they're gonna make another movie with him in it? But I think at least
Yeah.
we got like this higher caliber of actor to kind of come in and kind of school these children on how it's done,
Mm-hmm.
which was pretty nice. I thought he gave a little like just kind of rounded out the cast as like the grandpa, which was nice because you had two younger kids coming into the
Right.
thing, and you have these two old friends. Yeah, I think I would love a Hawkman movie. I don't know anything about Hawkman, but
Yeah.
that guy
That's fair.
commanded the screen, the toe to toe with Black Adam. I thought him and The Rock worked really well together with their kind of banter back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the kid that played Adam Smasher, I thought was pretty funny for the most part. I just don't feel like he got a lot of good fun scenes to be in. I love the part where he's like trying to find them, but he like dropped out of the plane last, and then he's like, "I'm on my way," and then it's like an explosion goes off in the background. He's like,
Yeah.
"Oh," and he like takes off running. I thought that worked really well. I love the scene where he goes to talk to Black Adam. He's eating that bucket of chicken because he messes with his atoms and his molecule sizes, so he gets hungry. I
Mm-hmm.
loved it. That was pretty funny. When Doctor Fate has to make the bucket of chicken disappear, it looked delicious. By the way, I was really hungry uh, while I was watching that movie. So
Yeah. I think I
yeah,
was too.
but
They,
yeah, for the most part, I thought everyone in the movie did a good job except for that kid. Ugh. And I like kids in movies. The
Me
best scene
too.
was in the beginning when he was like going through all the comic book characters in the
Yeah.
DCEU with Black Adam. That was his best scene. Should have just ended it there. Should have died,
Should
honestly.
have killed
Like,
him. No. Yeah.
should have killed him
Black Adam
off.
should have.
Yeah. I will say I did not like the villain very much, and we'll get into like effects and stuff later, but I
Oh
just didn't
yeah.
feel like he was menacing. And it's like, of course, the thing is, people, real quick, when you give me a villain, you have to make me think that he may beat the guy I know he can't beat. But as soon as he
Mm-hmm.
shows up on screen, I'm like, oh, this is our villain. dude, Rock's gonna
Yeah.
murder him.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go back to Man of Steel because I feel like the way Superman acts in that is very close to the way Black Adam is. Is like when he kills Zod. I feel like Michael Shannon is a powerhouse, and I love him in everything.
Hmm.
And Wells, I don't see him as like someone who can take on Henry Cavill, but he commands that screen, and that's what you need from a villain. And we don't
Yeah.
get that. I was just waiting for Black Adam to save the day because I knew he was going to, and I don't want that. I want to be on the edge of my seat, going, "Oh my god!" That's all I gotta say. Let's move on,
Yeah. It was a pretty whack villain, if there even was one. I even forgot that there was one.
dude.
Maybe you could have set up some kind of the villain earlier in the film and had that play out against parallel to the tension between the JSA and them having to come together. You could have done that. They just shoehorned his ass in there near the end.
Dude.
And the CG, you know,
Oh.
it wasn't. I mean, it wasn't that it was so bad or anything. It was just so
Oh.
blatantly, completely animated, generic looking devil character. Sabak was the villain we got to meet, really close to the end of the movie. So they came in for just a really, I mean, the fight was okay, I guess. It did what it needed to, and there was some
Honestly,
fodder for Rock to beat up, so that was fun. um, but overall, I really actually liked the action scenes and the slow mo CG stuff. Hawkman spinning mace, and I thought they handled the animation of Black Adam really well. I really liked that he was hovering most of the time until he
hmm
finally kind of came to reason and touched the ground. That was pretty powerful, I will say.
yeah.
That was a nice moment of nuance throughout the whole film, and I was waiting since he arrived. I was like, they're gonna have him hover for this most of this thing until he touches his feet, and it's gonna be a nice scene. And I think that actually worked. It was right in that little sweet spot in the middle near the top of the third act where it kind of feels like a real good movie.
hmm
And all the powers look great. Costumes for the most part look great. I thought Cyclone could have had a more distinctive looking kind of costume. But I also really loved her powers and how she wielded it, and that actress I thought was quite good. And Doctor Fate again, even though he was kind of a lot of CG, pretty much all CG
Look
when he
good.
was in his superhero thing, he looked good. I love that weird like refracting magic he had, and the helmet is just beautiful. The gold on blue,
Mm.
beautiful. It felt a little bit like the Suicide Squad, where it kind of confined itself to this one small city area and stuff like that, which I thought was kind of good. That was like set the battleground, and so the effects for building out the Kandak was really nice. I actually liked that they set something kind of in like this Middle Easternish kind of
hmm
country. That's my guess, and the notions of the other superheroes, they're not going to show up to Kandak. No Superman, no Batman. We need our own hero. I thought that was cool, and I thought they kind
Yeah.
of dropped the ball on some of their themes and stuff, but I'll talk about that in my closing remarks. But
Mhm.
overall, I think we're at a point with these comic book movies where the execution is going to be pretty good on a pretty top tier level for DC or Marvel. I know that can probably be argued by many people, but we're not talking TV shows necessarily. I'm talking movies, and I thought for the most part that stuff looked pretty dang good.
Um, the main villain looked terrible in my opinion. I did.
All right.
I just, ugh,
Yeah, he's
just
like,
didn't like the way it looked. I feel like it's just like by the time we figure out what that fucking crown does, he's in hell talking to I don't even know who, a woman that's a hell demon, and then Satan. I don't know. It's just like there could have been a whole other scene of like him dropping to hell and having this conversation and like making the pledge to be, their version of Black Adam, their Shazam or whatever. And it just wasn't. It just happened all of a sudden. They're like, "Here's your villain," and that I just, dude, it's just messy script. We've already said it. He just
mm-hmm,
didn't look that cool. Like I said in the previous section, I just need the villain to look menacing. That I think that it will, you know, that it could win and it could, destroy this world or the world or whatever. And at no point did I ever see that. It's just like I feel like Doctor Fate could have taken him out, but it can't because it's not his movie and that kind of
right.
thing. I just and the CG, the stunts, all that's fine. I do really like that he did not walk on the ground like a mortal man
Mm-hmm,
until he kind of gets this realization that he can be, in
mm-hmm,
both worlds, be this god, but also, be a human being and like feel what they feel. And I thought that was cool. And there throughout this movie there are little sprinklings of like what probably was a really solid script, and then I don't know, Hollywood got involved. They
Seemed to
got
take
worried. They're
about
like,
it.
we need our Black Panther movie. This is going to be it for us. We got to do the little triangle sign. I don't know. It's just
Yeah.
maybe I just don't care about Black Adam that much.
When Black Adam was first announced, I didn't get dive too deep into that story because again, The Rock, I didn't really care that much. But and my initial assumption was that he was going to be the villain in the sequel of Shazam,
That's what I
which I
thought.
was like, all right, that would have been fucking cool because you could have had him play the villain, right? And then Shazam and his teammates find a way to defeat him. Which I'm gonna make a prediction here. I think it's gonna be better than the sequel that we're gonna get, but who knows? I don't know how they're gonna introduce that villain or who it's gonna be. Those sisters or whatever. I don't know. I watched the trailer a couple times, but Black Adam could have been evil, gets defeated, sees the error of his ways, and then comes back for his own movie as this good guy because it felt like through this movie they're like, is he a bad guy or is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy or is he a good guy? And this whole thing, the messages and themes in this movie are all messed up. This whole thing like, well, he needs to be dark and violent, and that's the type of hero we need. And it's just like, wait, that's counterintuitive to like peace and stuff. You're like, no, it's okay if he kills.
Yeah,
Superman can't kill. If Batman kills, we're gonna fucking lose our minds. But
don't do it.
it's okay if he kills. And I'm like, you just 8 to 10 years ago that this was announced, like just make him a Shazam villain for once, build to it. That's the
Yeah,
reason why Marvel is more successful and perceived as having more quality, is because they put the work in and they built towards these things over time. And the thing that DC keeps getting wrong is to be like, no, we have our whole universe already, here it is, uncover it, discover it. And it's just like, you're not doing anything to develop or build any of these characters out. You're just throwing them at us. And that's the reason I think why DC is going to be always second place. I'd like to say third, but I guess really there's second place right now.
yeah. Just because
And
that's where they have to be because there's no one else
yeah,
making these kind of movies.
yeah. And it just so many problems. But again, it was fun to watch. If you like superhero movies, you're gonna probably like this. If you have an affinity towards The Rock, you're gonna like this. If you like gold on blue, you're gonna like this. No, I'm just kidding.
I
But
do.
I don't know when DC is gonna get its act together, and I'll keep watching them, I guess. But you're gonna hear it from me. DC, Warner Brothers, Discovery, Comcast,
I'm gonna say it right
McDonald's,
now. There,
Nestle.
let's put DC at 3 and put Sony at number 2.
See, it's like its own thing. I totally
Yeah,
agree. Yeah, DC is third
because
place.
whereas I don't like Venom or Venom 2 that much, I do think they're better than some of I don't know. There's like the Suicide Squad and Batman, which are real good.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
No.
Anyway, closing remarks for Black Adam. Like I said in the beginning, it's forgettable, but it's fun if you want to go see a big blockbuster movie in the theater. That's why you should go see Black Adam. Um, it's messy, like we've said. There are some shy points throughout it of maybe a better film that they wanted to make, and for whatever reason, I do agree that maybe if he would have been the villain in Shazam, that would have been a better way to introduce this character and then give him an origin story. We didn't
Mhm.
get that. Maybe Rock had something to do with that. He wanted his own movie, or no one could decide what they wanted, and The Rock just had to be like, "Hey, if we're making this, then we got to make it." Who knows? I just feel like some actors have a lot of pull, and they get to decide what happens to some of these movies. And I also think what you said about the MCU, I do think that the thing with the MCU for me is I feel like you have fans who love the material
Mhm.
and might want to change some things up and pick and choose from certain runs. Because listen, people, comic books are great, but sometimes some of the runs you're just like, this is where you decided. Comic books aren't flawless by any means. There are some amazing runs. There's also equally as bad runs to every
Mhm.
good run that there is in a comic book. So I love that the MCU. It seems like the people that get to write and make their movies care about like what happens to these characters, and I feel like DC, except for like Matt Reeves, Batman, and probably Christopher Nolan, maybe even Zack Snyder for his like Justice League movie. don't really care about like some of the movies they're making or the characters that exist in them. And I'm talking not so much the filmmakers or writers, but maybe more producers that are just trying to make that quick cash. And,
Mm-hmm.
if we're not going to make it, someone else is going to make it. And we got to make it now because it's going to make us a lot of money. Um, if you like the trailer, go see it. It's a fun way to kill an afternoon with the fam, with some friends. But I don't think I will revisit this movie.
Same. I'll take more helpings, but that first one, I'm done with that one. It's over
Will I
there.
watch him in a Man of Steel 2, 3, Shazam 3? Yeah, I'll watch The Rock show up as Black Adam. I and I would watch the Justice Society show up too.
Yeah.
Hawkman movie, I watch it.
I'm
But you
so
guys know me by
down.
now, and I'll watch any comic book movie.
Oh,
Oh,
Cavill's Superman, noticeably brighter colors.
oh yeah, that's for sure. That's true.
The haircut was nice. He's looking
Yeah.
dapper. I was like, man,
As soon as he showed up, I went, "There's my
money
man.
well
There he
spent.
is, dude."
You know,
Yeah, that's
just for
probably
like
why the movie's so
literally.
bad. They had to play Cavill to come back as
Yeah.
Superman. I think that's cool. I think that maybe DC's trying to maybe not be an MCU, but kind of connect some movies or let us know that
Yeah.
everyone exists in this universe. And I
Yeah.
like that they took those little moments to kind of let us know that like the Suicide Squad does exist in this universe. They do know that Superman, they do know that Batman. Which Batman? I don't know. I hope Batfleck comes back. Just saying. I like
That'd
Ben
be
Affleck
cool.
as Batman. I'd like to see him within this extended universe and let Matt Reeves make his own Batman shit, and I'll watch that too. I'll
Yeah.
take all the
There.
Batmans, all the
That's
Batmans
the
I can
thing.
get.
That's the thing, Warner Brothers. Like, we're sitting here wasting our breath talking about whether it's good or not. You know, you already got our money. You know, you already
That's
got
true.
your hands in our pockets. Anyway,
Honestly, I don't.
and it's
If I
fine. It
didn't
feels
have
good.
Movie Pass and I didn't do
Yeah,
this
that's true.
podcast
Yeah.
and I had a life and I might not
Hmm.
have seen this movie. I might have waited like I did with Morbius and
Yeah.
saw it once it came out on like
Yeah.
to rent or something. But like I said, I think Andrew got me all infectious about how he like thought it looked good, and I was like, well, maybe I'm missing something. Maybe only Andrew's
Yeah.
seen something I ain't seen.
I can tell from frame one of any trailer if it's going to be good or bad. And that's a guarantee as a movie
That's
expert.
true most of the time. Most of the time, you're right.
Boom! With all that being said, that is Black Adam.
Seat.
All right, sending you off with class and style. Thank you again for watching another one of our reviews. We just kind of just do this all the time because, like Maddie said, we don't have any lives. Movies are our life, and we enjoy it. So we'll be here every week for the most part, unless I mess up audio in an episode or one of us goes on a holiday. Come join our group on Facebook, the Saint Movie Club. Hit all our links, they'll be below the video here. And you can catch us on multiple platforms: Spotify, Apple Music, Tunes, and YouTube movie shows. You know what I'm trying to say. Anyway, that's going to be it for me. Still trying to think of a cool catchphrase to send you off with, but I've just been doing this whole peace thing. So, peace. Happy Halloweensies. We're still in that season. I'm rambling. That's it for me.
Bye bye.